The fact that most gardening advice out there was written for someone who has all day, a perfectly healthy back, and absolutely nothing better to do than dig in the dirt from sunrise to sunset. That is not you. And honestly, that is not most real gardeners either. Here is the thing though. The gardeners who actually get the most out of their gardens, the ones with the fullest harvest, the most beautiful flower beds, and the least amount of pain at the end of the day, they are not working harder than everyone else. They are just doing 10 specific things that most beginners have never been told about. And today, I am going to show you every single one of them. Number 1. Smart gardeners sit down to garden. Beginners think that is laziness. The moment a seasoned gardener discovered the garden kneeler stool, the kind that flips over and becomes a bench, their entire relationship with the garden changed. They stopped dreading weeding. They stopped finishing a garden session feeling like their knees had personally betrayed them. And they started spending more time out there because it stopped hurting. Beginners bend at the waist, kneel on hard ground, or crouch in ways that the human body after 60 was simply not designed to sustain for long periods. And then they wonder why they are sore for 2 days afterward. Smart gardeners know that how your body feels during the garden directly determines how often you will actually show up in it. So the habit is this. Before you do anything in the garden, you ask yourself one question. Can I do this sitting down or from a comfortable standing position? If the answer is yes, you find a way to make that happen. You use a long-handled weeder so you do not bend. You raise your garden bed so the soil meets you, not the other way around. You bring a stool to the patch, and you sit there like the garden royalty you are. Number 2. Smart gardeners water in the morning. And beginners water whenever they remember. When you water in the morning, the soil absorbs moisture before the heat of the day. The leaves dry off quickly so fungal diseases have no chance to settle in. And your plants get the hydration they need right when they are starting to work hard for the day. But here is what the beginners miss. Evening watering is not just bad for the plants. It is also bad for your energy levels. Think about it. By evening, most of us over 60 are winding down. Our bodies are tired. The last thing we actually want to do is drag a hose around the garden. So we do a rush job. We miss spots. We water the leaves instead of the base. And the plants pay for it. Morning watering takes the same amount of time, but you have more energy, better focus, and the whole experience is actually enjoyable. The garden is quiet in the morning. The air is cool. The birds are out. It is one of the best parts of the day when you do it right. Set a simple routine. Water first thing. Before your cup of tea or right after it. Make it a non-negotiable part of your morning the way brushing your teeth is. The consistency alone will transform how your garden grows. Number 3. Smart gardeners use their nose to check the health of their soil. Beginners use their eyes. Healthy soil has a very specific smell. It is earthy, rich, almost a little sweet. If you have ever walked into a forest and taken a deep breath of that deep, damp, living smell, that is what good soil smells like. That smell comes from something called actinomycetes, which are beneficial bacteria that are a sign your soil is full of life. If your soil smells like nothing, it is tired soil. Dead soil. Soil that needs help. And if it smells sour or like eggs or like something has gone wrong, that is compacted soil with poor drainage, and your plants are telling you something important even before they show you symptoms on their leaves. Now beginners look at their soil and if it looks brown and dirt-like, they assume it is fine. But experienced gardeners know you cannot fully judge soil by looks alone. You pick up a handful, you squeeze it, you smell it. Good soil also has texture. It should feel slightly damp without being wet. It should crumble between your fingers without being dusty. It should hold together just a little when you squeeze it. Here is the habit. Once a week, get close to your soil. Pick up a handful. Smell it. Squeeze it. Get to know what your specific garden soil feels like when things are going well so that you notice immediately when something shifts. That kind of attention takes 30 seconds, and it has saved many a gardener from losing an entire season's crop. Number 4. Smart gardeners keep a simple garden notebook. Beginners try to remember everything. Now do not make this more complicated than it needs to be. I am not talking about a fancy journal with color-coded tabs and a yearly planting calendar that you have to keep updating. I am talking about a plain notebook, a pen, and 3 questions you answer every time you go into the garden. What did I do today? What do I notice? What do I want to do next time? That is it. Here is why this matters so much. Our brains are wonderful, but they are not spreadsheets. When you planted those beans last spring and they came up beautifully, do you remember exactly where you planted them? Do you remember when you put the fertilizer down and how much you used? Do you remember which corner of the bed the slugs seemed to come from? Probably not. And that is okay. That is what the notebook is for. Smart gardeners build knowledge over seasons, not just within one season. By year 3 of keeping a simple garden notebook, you have a picture of your specific garden that no gardening book can give you. You know your soil. You know your microclimate. You know which plants thrive in which corner. You know exactly what went wrong in the wet summer of last year and what you did to fix it. That notebook becomes the most valuable gardening tool you own. More useful than any gadget. Get a plain spiral notebook. Keep it on the windowsill near the door you used to go into the garden. Just 3 questions. Every visit. Number 5. Smart gardeners never fight their season. Beginners try to grow what they want instead of what belongs. This is one of the most freeing realizations a gardener can have, and it almost always comes with experience. The idea is this. Your garden has a season. It has a climate. It has conditions that are specific to your corner of the world. And when you try to grow plants that belong in a different climate or a different season, you are essentially starting a battle you cannot win. Beginners spend money on plants that are wrong for their zone. They see something beautiful at the garden center and they buy it because it is beautiful. They plant things at the wrong time because they are excited. They fight the frost, fight the heat, fight the soil pH, and they end up exhausted, frustrated, and with a garden that barely produces. Smart gardeners do something very different. They lean into their season. They plant what wants to grow where they are. And instead of fighting, they flow. Here is how this shows up practically. Look at what grows wild near your home. Those plants are telling you something about your soil and climate. Pay attention to your last frost date and your first frost date, and let those 2 dates be the frame that all your planting decisions fit inside. Choose vegetable and flower varieties that are labeled as suited to your region. And here is the wonderful part. When you stop fighting the season, gardening becomes genuinely restful. You stop chasing results and you start enjoying the process. That shift right there is what separates gardeners who burn out in their second year from those who are still at it in their 80s. Number 6. Smart gardeners let some weeds stay on purpose. Beginners pull everything that is not a plant they put there. There are weeds that are genuinely harmful. Bindweed, couchgrass, anything with an aggressive root system that will strangle your plants. Those absolutely need to go. But then there is a whole other category of plants that most people call weeds but that are actually doing quiet, important work in your garden. Dandelions, for example, have roots that go deep into the soil and pull up minerals from far below the surface that your other plants cannot reach on their own. When a dandelion drops its leaves, those minerals feed the topsoil. Clover fixes nitrogen directly from the air into the ground, which is the same thing expensive fertilizer tries to do. Nettles attract beneficial insects. Smart gardeners look at a plant before they pull it. They ask whether this plant is actually causing a problem or whether it is just a plant they did not choose. If it is not crowding your crops, not spreading aggressively, and not blocking sunlight, it might be earning its place. This also means significantly less weeding. And for gardeners over 60, less bending, less kneeling, and less time spent on thankless physical labor is a genuine gift. The habit here is simple. Next time you see something you would normally pull without thinking, pause for 10 seconds. Identify it if you can. Ask whether it is doing harm or simply showing up uninvited. You might find yourself with a few useful guests you did not know you had. Number 7. Smart gardeners read their plants like a conversation. Beginners only notice problems when it is almost too late. Every plant in your garden is communicating with you all the time. The color of the leaves, the direction they curl, the texture of the stems, the way new growth looks compared to old growth. Every single one of these things carries information. Smart gardeners learn to read that information. Beginners walk past it every day without seeing it. Yellow leaves on the lower part of a plant often signal nitrogen deficiency. But yellow leaves on the upper part with green veins? That is iron deficiency, and the fix is completely different. Leaves that cup downward are usually telling you about overwatering. Leaves with brown crispy edges are often about underwatering, low humidity, or too much wind. Slow, stunted growth in full sun might be a root problem, not a sun problem. Now here is the beautiful thing about learning to read your plants. You do not need to memorize a textbook. You just need to get into the habit of actually looking at them when you walk by. Take one slow lap around your garden every morning. Not to do anything. Not to pull weeds or water or deadhead. Just to look. To notice. To see how each plant is doing today compared to how it looked yesterday. That quiet daily observation is worth more than any amount of reactive problem solving. The moment something is slightly off, you will see it. And at that stage, fixing it is easy. By the time beginners notice something is wrong, the plant has been trying to tell them for 2 weeks already. Number 8. Smart gardeners use their kitchen strategically. Beginners either over-fertilize or do nothing at all. There is a whole world of incredibly effective, completely free garden nutrition sitting in your kitchen right now. And most of it gets thrown in the bin every single day. Eggshells crushed fine. Add calcium to soil and work brilliantly around the base of tomatoes and peppers to prevent a problem called blossom end rot, which is exactly what it sounds like and something no one wants. Coffee grounds used sparingly. Improve drainage in heavy clay soil and add a small amount of nitrogen. Banana peels, either buried directly in the soil near plants or added to your compost, break down into potassium, which supports strong root development and fruiting. Cooled vegetable cooking water, the water you boiled your carrots or broccoli in, is full of trace minerals your plants love. Just make sure it is unsalted and fully cooled before you pour it at the base of your plants. Now the key word I used was strategically. This is not about throwing every kitchen scrap into the garden and hoping for the best. It is about knowing which plants benefit from which nutrients and providing them in small, consistent doses. Smart gardeners think of their kitchen as a quiet supplement program for the garden, not a dumping ground. Start with just one. Pick eggshells if you grow tomatoes. Collect them. Let them dry out on the windowsill for a few days. Crush them fine. And sprinkle them into the soil around your tomato plants. See the difference by the end of the season. Then slowly add one more thing when you are comfortable. Number 9. Smart gardeners plant in odd numbers. Beginners plant in rows and wonder why it looks so flat. When you plant in groups of 3, 5, or 7 instead of 2, 4, or in long straight rows, something interesting happens visually. The garden starts to look intentional, natural, full. Like something you planned rather than something that just happened. But here is the real practical reason smart gardeners do this. Odd number groupings create natural clusters that support each other. 3 tomato plants together can be staked as a group. 5 marigolds in a cluster create a stronger pest deterrent than 5 spaced evenly across a row. Groupings of herbs together means you only need to water one spot instead of walking across the entire garden with the watering can. For gardeners who are thinking about how to move efficiently through the garden without overdoing it physically, this matters. Design your planting layout so that everything you tend regularly is within easy reach of where you naturally stand or sit. Group things that need similar care together. Put your most visited plants nearest the door. The odd number rule is the kind of thing that once you start doing it, you do it automatically. 3 basil plants near the kitchen door. 5 of your favorite dahlias by the fence. 7 lavender plants along the path. Your garden will look like it was designed by someone who really knows what they are doing because it was. Number 10. Smart gardeners rest their beds. Beginners plant the same thing in the same place every single year. Here is the idea. When you grow the same type of plant in the same patch of soil year after year, 2 things happen. First, the specific nutrients that plant needs get gradually depleted from that soil because the plant keeps taking them. Second, the pests and diseases that target that specific plant build up in the soil over time and become harder and harder to deal with. Smart gardeners rotate. They move their crops around. Tomatoes this year go where beans were last year. Beans went there because beans fix nitrogen and tomatoes are heavy nitrogen users. Roots go where the leafy greens were. Leafy greens move to where the roots grew. It is a simple rotation, but it keeps the soil balanced and keeps pest populations from establishing a permanent home. But there is a second kind of resting that smart gardeners do that is even simpler. At least one patch in the garden gets left alone for the season, just covered with a layer of compost or straw and left to rest. The earthworms do their work. The soil biology rebuilds. By the following spring, that bed is the most productive patch in the whole garden. Think of it the way you think of sleep. You do not get stronger during exercise. You get stronger during rest. The same is true for soil. If this video was useful, please share it with a friend who gardens. You never know who might need to hear the bit about resting the beds or reading the leaves. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button and join this community. We are all here to grow something beautiful together. I will see you in the next one. Happy gardening!